Delay. Okay. All right, good evening. This June 16th, 2022 special meeting of the Lake Oswego City Council is now called to order. Ms. Linder, will you please start us off with the roll?
Mayor Buck.
Here.
Councilors Wynn.
Here.
Burdick.
Here.
Raff.
Here.
Mans.
Here.
Councilor Mboop.
Here.
And Wendland.
Here.
Okay, we have one item on the agenda this evening, which is Resolution 22-17, directing staff to initiate a process to review the park rules relating to use of certain park and recreation facilities to enter Oswego Lake. Process will begin with an overview by City Attorney Luce of how the council will conduct this process, followed by a staff report by Attorney Luce as well. So, Mr. Luce, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So the process will be as follows. If there is public testimony, we'll have up to 45 minutes of public testimony. 15 minutes of that will be for individuals in favor of the resolution, up to 15 minutes for those opposed, and up to 15 minutes for those neutral on the resolution. Each individual will receive up to 3 minutes to speak.
Okay.
But those are the rules for.
That's great. Well, then with that, we'll move into the staff report.
So the staff report is, as you've all seen the report, what we're asking for is a resolution to initiate a process to review the park rules as they relate to access to Oswego Lake. The current park rules were put into place in 2012, and since that time, as you know, there's been about a decade of litigation surrounding whether or not Oswego Lake is a public or private lake is basically what the arguments have been about. The city has not been involved directly, has not taken a position on that particular issue. The most recent trial has 2 phases to it. And we are about to go to phase 2. The city is directly involved in that. However, in phase 1, the judge did make a decision, and her decision in phase 1 was that Oswego Lake was navigable at statehood, and therefore the public trust doctrine applies to the waters of Oswego Lake. So with this information, the rules that we had put in place in 2012 might want to be changed. Frankly, we don't really know what the ruling means, which is why we want to initiate a public process that includes all the stakeholders, including people that live on the lake, residents of Lake Oswego outside of the lake, Lake Corps, anyone else that's interested. So that's the process we would want to follow. What this resolution does not do is it's not giving up on defending the city's position in the lawsuit. The city will continue to defend its position in the lawsuit as we have all along. It will not make any drastic changes to how the lake is accessed right now. The city owns a fairly small amount of land adjacent to the lake, and frankly, the city doesn't have a lot to do with the lake directly. So, I mean, we are adjacent to the lake, but we're talking about a very small area, and that includes the Headley Walkway, Lower Millennium Park, and Sunderleaf Plaza. Most of that actually doesn't touch the lake, but there are a few small places here and there that might touch the lake. So what we want to do is just initiate a process that takes a deeper dive into what property we own exactly and what rules might need to be changed or amended or added, depending on what the group finds out.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Councilor Mans.
So just to make sure that I understand, City Attorney Luz, the city owns very little property adjacent to the lake in aggregate, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
It would be a few feet probably.
what you mentioned. Thank you.
Does, Ms. Leonard, do we have anyone to testify?
No, Mayor.
Okay, or to provide comment, rather. Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to start discussion? Don't all
I'll
speak
make
at
them.
once. Councilman,
I
I'll make
move.
the motion.
please.
Move to approve Resolution 2217, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lake Oswego directing staff to initiate a process to review the park rules relating to use of certain park and recreation facilities to enter Lake Oswego.
Okay, I will second that. All right, discussion. Okay. Well, I'll just say that it's always part of our prudent practices to examine our policies over time. And of course, when we do so, to do so in a way that's informed through public input and in the context of relevant laws, which of course change over time. As a for instance, right now we're doing a comprehensive review of pickleball play in Lake Oswego. The important piece is that this review work we do is always inclusive as a community with input from all stakeholders and residents. I think, as a council, all of us here, with our respective elections, it kind of put us on a moving train in regards to this lawsuit, and it started before any of us were in our current roles, and that's of course always part of city leadership. But wise leadership, I think, always allows current context to guide a reflection on how we operate in the best interests of all of our residents. And in regards to this process here, community involvement is always what shines a light on shared interests, and it bridges those areas where there's some daylight between viewpoints. And there's nothing more important than the value of continuing to bring neighbors to the table, make sure that everyone has their voice heard, and I think that's what this resolution allows. So I do support it. Councilor Wendland.
City Attorney Luce, I just have a question on if we do move forward with this resolution, does it change at all the current circumstances with the current policy that we have in place that is still in effect for lake access?
No, nothing would change. So the current rule that does not allow access to the lake from city properties will stand during this process.
And that still stands based on the first part of the legal outcome?
Correct, yes. As you know, the city does not have any safe access points to enter the Oswego Lake. So at this point, that rule is going to stand until it's thoroughly reviewed and we can determine otherwise if need be.
Okay, so for the listening audience, they do know that nothing has changed with respect to the access to the lake as before.
Correct.
Right. And then I just wanted to ask you that under your advisement, because we are under litigation as a city and as we're city councilors, that we should probably not be commenting on this case. Is that correct?
That's correct. My advice has been and will continue to be to not comment on pending or current litigation, which phase 2 of this case is. Because this affects mostly the phase 1, I think we can start this process. But yes, with respect to phase 2, I'd prefer we not comment on it.
Great. Thank you for your advice, and I'm sure we will take it.
Thank you, Councilor Wendland. Councilor Rath?
City Attorney Luce, one question I had, which is how does this resolution impact the city's defense of the lawsuit or the process of kind of our position in the lawsuit?
So it won't have any effect on it. The city plans to continue taking the same position we've taken all along, that our park rules are reasonable, and that will continue to be our position.
Thank you. I think the resolution's pretty good.
Okay, thank you for the questions, good questions. Okay, well, no further discussion, and Ms. Linder, please call the roll.
Mayor Buck,
Yes?
Counselors Wynn,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Mans,
Yes.
Mbu,
Yes.
and Winland.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I thought that last week when I was gone, Counselor Winland, who did a great job, my absence had run the shortest meeting ever, but I'm glad to see I came back and beat the record immediately.
Well done.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Wow.